She thought hiring him to fix her garage door was just a simple transaction, until she saw the way he held his son's hand and realized some repairs go deeper than broken springs and warped tracks. Charlotte Hale had no idea that one storm, one emergency call, and one man's quiet devotion would shatter every wall she'd built around her guarded heart. But when a cruel photo surfaces, when her ex-boyfriend weaponizes gossip, and when her own mother's judgment threatens to destroy the one real thing she's ever had, Lottie has to make an impossible choice: protect her reputation or fight for the single father everyone says she shouldn't want. What happens next will leave you breathless, because sometimes the most dangerous thing you can do is let someone see the real you. If you're watching this, hit that subscribe button and tell me in the comments where you're from, because this story is about to prove that love built in a garage can be stronger than anything built on lies. The storm hit on a Sunday night. Lottie woke to the sound of wind screaming past her windows and rain hammering the roof like angry fists. She pulled the covers over her head and waited for morning. Monday came gray and cold. Lottie stood in her kitchen at 7:10, sipping coffee and checking her phone. Her client breakfast started at 8:30 downtown. She had exactly 40 minutes to get there, set up the display boards, and look calm. She grabbed her purse and keys. Her heels clicked across the tile as she walked through the mudroom into the garage. She hit the button on the wall. The garage door groaned. Metal scraped against metal. The door lifted 3 inches, then stopped with a sound like something breaking. Lottie froze. She pressed the button again. Nothing. The door sat crooked in its frame, one side higher than the other. Her car was trapped inside. No, no, no! She crouched down and looked under the door. Water pooled on the driveway. Leaves and broken branches covered everything. She tried the manual release, the red cord hanging from the track. She pulled hard. The door jerked, but didn't move. Something metal groaned above her head, low and dangerous. Lottie stepped back fast. Her heart pounded. She didn't know much about garage doors, but she knew that sound meant trouble. She ran back inside and grabbed her phone. On the refrigerator, under a pizza magnet, was a business card. Reed Electric and Repair. 24-hour emergency service. Her neighbor, Mr. Whitcomb, had given it to her last month when her porch light went out. Good guy, he'd said. Reliable, fair prices. Lottie dialed. 2 rings, then a voice, calm and steady. Reed Electric, Marcus speaking. Hi, my garage door is stuck. The storm, something's wrong with it. My car is trapped and I have a meeting in less than an hour. Address? She gave it. Don't touch the door again, Marcus said. Especially not the cables or springs. I'll be there in 10 minutes. 10 minutes? I'm finishing up a service call 2 streets over. Sit tight. The line went dead. Lottie stood in her kitchen, staring at her phone. 10 minutes. She could work with 10 minutes, she texted her client. Running 15 min late. Storm damage. So sorry. The reply came fast. No worries. We'll wait. Lottie exhaled. She paced the kitchen, checked her hair in the hallway mirror, straightened her blazer, paced some more. At 8:05, a white work van pulled into her driveway. The side read, Reed Electric, in blue letters. A man climbed out. He was tall. Broad shoulders, dark skin, close-cropped hair starting to gray at the temples. He wore a navy work shirt with his name stitched on the pocket, Marcus, and carried a toolbox that looked older than Lottie. She opened the front door. Morning, Marcus said. His voice was the same as on the phone. Steady. No rush. You're the one with the stuck door? Yes. Thank you for coming so fast. He walked past her into the garage. Lottie followed. He set the toolbox down and studied the door for a long moment. Then he crouched and looked at the track. He didn't touch anything yet. Storm warped the track. he said. And this spring, he pointed up. It's under a lot of tension. If it snaps while the door's stuck like this, someone could get hurt. Lottie swallowed. I pulled the manual release. Marcus glanced at her. His eyes were dark brown, calm. Good thing you stopped when you heard that groan. That was the spring telling you to back off. Can you fix it? I can make it safe enough to get your car out. Full repair will take longer. But right now, let's get you to that meeting. He opened the toolbox. His hands moved fast, but careful. He pulled out a metal brace and a power drill. He fitted the brace against the warped section of track and drilled it into place. The sound echoed in the small space. This'll hold, he said. But don't use the automatic opener until I replace that spring. I'll prop the door manually so you can back out. He positioned himself under the door and lifted. His shoulders tensed. The door rose smooth and slow. He braced it with a support rod. Go ahead, he said. Lottie climbed into her car. Her hands shook a little as she started the engine. She backed out slowly, carefully. Marcus stood to the side, watching. When she was clear, he lowered the door and pulled the support rod free. Lottie got out of the car. Thank you, really. I thought I was going to miss the whole meeting. Marcus wiped his hands on a rag. You're good to go, but I need to come back with a new spring and fix that track properly. I have to leave by 2:40 for school pickup, but I can return tonight if that works. After bedtime. After bedtime? Lottie blinked. You mean your bedtime? A small smile. My son's bedtime. He's 8. I'm a single dad. My schedule runs around school and sleep. Oh. Lottie felt something shift in her chest. I didn't mean to take up your time. You didn't. This is what I do. He checked his watch. I'll be back around 9 tonight with the parts. That okay? Yes, of course. How much do I owe you for this? We'll settle up after the full repair. Don't worry about it. He loaded his toolbox back into the van. Lottie stood on the driveway and watched him sweep the broken branches to the side with his boot. He didn't have to do that, but he did. Drive safe, Marcus said. Then he climbed into the van and pulled away. Lottie looked at her driveway. It was cleaner than before he came. The client breakfast went well. Lottie set up the boards, smiled, answered questions, but part of her mind stayed in the garage. She kept hearing that calm voice. My son's bedtime. She drove home at 6. The house felt quiet. She made a salad and ate it standing at the kitchen counter. Then she sat on the couch and tried to read a book. The words didn't stick. At 8:55, headlights swept across her living room window. Lottie stood. She smoothed her shirt and walked to the door. A soft knock. She opened it. Marcus stood on her porch, toolbox in one hand, a cardboard box in the other. Evening. I brought the new spring and some better hardware for the track. Come in. He stepped inside and walked straight to the garage. Lottie followed again. She didn't know why, but she didn't want to just sit in the house while he worked. Marcus set the box down and opened it. Inside was a coiled metal spring, shiny and new. He pulled out a wrench and climbed onto a small ladder. This'll take about an hour, he said. You don't have to stay. I'll lock up when I'm done. I don't mind. He glanced at her, then nodded. Suit yourself. Lottie sat on an old stool in the corner. She watched him work. His movements were careful, deliberate. He explained what he was doing as he went, not in a showy way, just matter of fact. This spring does all the heavy lifting, he said. When it's balanced right, the door should feel light. When it's wrong, the motor burns out trying to compensate. He removed the old spring. It came off with a hiss of released tension. Lottie flinched. It's okay, Marcus said. I've got it secure. He installed the new spring, adjusting the tension with a metal rod. Then he moved to the track and straightened the warped section with a rubber mallet. The sound was rhythmic, steady. When he finished, he tested the door. It glided up smooth and silent, down the same way. "Perfect," Marcus said. He pulled a small label maker from his toolbox and stuck a tag on the opener. "Serviced 1014. Check springs every 6 months." "That's so I remember when I come back," he said, "and so you know when to call." "You come back?" "For maintenance checks. Keeps things running longer." He climbed down from the ladder. "No extra charge tonight. You already paid for the emergency call this morning." Lottie stood. "You came back at 9 at night. That's worth something." "It's my job." "Still." Marcus looked at her. Really looked. His eyes were tired, but kind. "I appreciate it, but you don't owe me anything extra." He packed up his tools. Lottie noticed something on the side of his toolbox, a small dinosaur sticker, bright green, starting to peel at the edges. Marcus caught her looking. "My son," he said. "He decorates everything I own." Lottie smiled. "How old?" 8. His name's Jaden. He's into inventions and dinosaurs and staying up past bedtime." "Sounds like a good kid." "He is." Marcus carried the toolbox and the empty box toward the van. Lottie walked with him. The night air was cool and damp. The storm had left everything smelling like wet leaves and fresh earth. "Thank you," Lottie said, "for coming back, for making it safe." "That's the job," Marcus said again. But this time he smiled a little. "Sleep easy, miss." "Lottie. Just Lottie." "Sleep easy, Lottie." He climbed into the van. The engine started. Lottie watched the taillights disappear down the street. She walked back inside. The garage door hummed down behind her, smooth as silk. Tuesday morning, Lottie woke early. She made coffee and stood at the kitchen window. The sun was just starting to rise, painting the sky soft pink and orange. At 7:30, she heard a vehicle in the driveway. She looked out. The white van was back. Marcus stood next to the garage, tightening the brackets on the track with a wrench. Lottie grabbed 2 mugs and poured coffee into both. She walked outside in her slippers. "Morning," she called. Marcus turned. "Morning." She held out one of the mugs. "Thought you might want this." He hesitated, then took it. "Thanks." They stood in the driveway, sipping coffee. The neighborhood was waking up. A dog barked somewhere. A car engine started down the block. "You didn't have to come back," Lottie said. "I wanted to double-check the brackets. They looked a little loose last night." Marcus tested one with his hand. "There. That's better." "Do you always follow up like this?" "When I can." Lottie studied him. He didn't look at her while he worked. His focus stayed on the door, the brackets, the track. But there was something about the way he moved. Calm, sure, like he knew exactly what needed to be done and how to do it. "I was thinking," Lottie said. "I have a few outlets inside that flicker sometimes, and the weather seals around the windows are pretty old. Would you be able to take a look? Later this week, maybe?" Marcus straightened. He looked at her now. "I can do that. Let me check my schedule." He pulled out his phone, scrolled through a calendar app. "Thursday morning? I'm free from 8 to 2:30. "That works." "Good." He typed something into the phone. "I'll bring my tester and some seals. If the outlets need replacing, I'll let you know." "Sounds good." They finished their coffee in comfortable silence. Then Marcus packed up his wrench and handed her the empty mug. "See you Thursday," he said. "See you then." He climbed into the van, but before he pulled away, Lottie saw him stop and look at something on his phone. His expression softened. He smiled, just a little, and typed a quick reply. Then he drove off. Lottie walked back inside, holding both mugs. She set them in the sink and stared out the window. She realized she was smiling too. At noon, her phone buzzed. A text from Andrew. Heard about the storm damage. You okay? I can send my guy over. Licensed. Safe. Lottie stared at the message. Andrew was her ex. They'd broken up 6 months ago, and it had been messy. He'd wanted control over everything. Her schedule, her friends, even her money. When she finally ended it, he'd acted like she was making a mistake. She typed fast. Already handled. Thanks. 3 dots appeared. Then. By who? Lottie didn't answer. She put the phone face down on her desk. An hour later, her mom called. Hi, sweetie. Just checking on the house. Mr. Whitcomb said there was storm damage? The garage door got stuck. It's fixed now. Oh, good. Did you call someone? Yes, a local handyman. He was great. A pause. What company? Reed Electric. Another pause. I don't know them. Did you check reviews? Licenses? Lottie felt her jaw tighten. Mom, he's fine. Mr. Whitcomb recommended him. I'm just saying, be careful who you let inside your home. You don't really know people. I know enough. Her mom sighed. I'm not trying to be difficult. I just worry. I know, but I'm fine. Really. They talked for a few more minutes. Surface stuff. Safe stuff. When Lottie hung up, she felt tired. She walked into the garage. The door sat perfect in its frame. The label on the opener read, Serviced 1014. Check springs every 6 months. Lottie ran her hand along the track. Smooth. Solid. She thought about Marcus's calm voice, his careful hands, the dinosaur sticker on his toolbox. My son's bedtime. She thought about the way he'd swept the driveway without being asked. The way he'd labeled the opener so she'd know when to call. The way he'd come back at 9 at night and refused extra pay. This wasn't about licenses or reviews or background checks. This was about a man who kept his word, who did good work, who showed up when he said he would. Lottie stood in the garage for a long time, thinking. Then she went back inside and deleted Andrew's text. Thursday morning came bright and cool. Lottie woke at 6:30 and made a full pot of coffee. She set out a thermos on the workbench in the garage, along with a granola bar. The good kind, with chocolate chips. At 7:40, the white van pulled up. Marcus climbed out with his toolbox and a canvas bag slung over his shoulder. He saw the thermos and stopped. You didn't have to do that, he said. I know. He picked it up and unscrewed the lid. Steam rose. He took a sip and smiled. The good kind. Coffee or granola bar? Both? They walked into the garage together. Marcus set down his toolbox and pulled out a small device with wires and a digital screen. Outlet tester, he said. I'll check every outlet on the ground. Floor. Should take about an hour. Do you need me to show you where they are? Nah, I'll find them. Lottie left him to work. She answered emails in the kitchen, but she could hear him moving through the house. Footsteps in the living room, the mudroom, the hallway. Every few minutes, the tester beeped. At 8:30, he appeared in the kitchen doorway. Found something? He said. Come look. She followed him to the mudroom. He pointed at an outlet near the utility sink. This should be a GFCI, Marcus said. Ground fault circuit interrupter. It's a safety thing. Cuts power if water gets near the outlet. Code requires them anywhere there's a water source. Is it dangerous? It's not ideal, especially in a room like this. He tapped the wall next to the sink. I can swap it out. Won't take long. How much? 40 for the outlet, 20 for labor. I'll do it next time it rains, so I can test it properly. Okay. Marcus wrote it down in a small notebook. His handwriting was neat, blocky. Weather seals look fine, he said. A little worn, but they'll last another year. Good. He packed up the tester. I'll be back Friday if the forecast holds. Rain's supposed to roll in around 9. You schedule your work around the weather? When I can. Makes testing easier. He glanced at his watch. I need to head out by 2:30 today, but I'll knock out those brackets on the shelving unit you mentioned before I go. The one in the laundry room? That's the one. They walked back to the garage. Marcus pulled out a level and a drill. Lottie watched him work. He didn't rush. Every measurement was checked twice. Every screw went in straight. At 2:20, he packed up his tools. That's it for today, he said. I'll see you Friday morning, around 9. Thanks, Marcus. He paused at the door. Thanks for the coffee. Jaden's been asking about pancakes all week, so I need to stop at the store on the way home. Pancakes? His favorite. We do pancake Thursdays. Been our thing since he was 5. Lottie felt something warm bloom in her chest. That sounds nice. It is. Marcus smiled. See you Friday, Lottie. He drove away. Lottie stood in the driveway until the van turned the corner. Then she went back inside and wrote on a sticky note, pancake spatula. She didn't know why, but she stuck it to the fridge anyway. Friday morning, the rain came. Lottie heard it drumming on the roof when she woke up. By 9, it was a steady pour. The doorbell rang. Marcus stood on the porch, rain dripping off his jacket. Morning, ready to test that outlet? Come in. He wiped his boots on the mat and followed her to the mudroom. He pulled the new GFCI outlet from his bag and got to work. Lottie leaned against the doorframe and watched. What makes it different from a regular outlet? It monitors the current, Marcus said. He didn't look up from the wires. If it senses an imbalance, like water touching a plugged-in appliance, it cuts power in a fraction of a second, fast enough to save your life. That's intense. Electricity's serious business. He connected the wires, black, white, green, and screwed the outlet into the wall. Then he plugged in a small lamp and flipped the test button. The lamp went dark. Perfect, Marcus said. He reset the outlet and the lamp came back on. You should test this every month. Just push the test button and make sure it trips, then reset it. Easy. Every month? Yep, write it on your calendar if you need to. He handed her a small card with instructions printed on it. Lottie looked at the card, then at him. You really care about this stuff? She said. I care about people being safe. His voice was quiet, serious. I've seen what happens when corners get cut. I won't do that to anyone. Lottie felt something shift between them. It was small, but real. She trusted him, not just with her outlets and garage doors. She trusted him. Coffee? She asked. I'd love some. They sat at the kitchen table. Rain streaked the windows. Marcus wrapped his hands around the mug and sighed. Long week? Lottie asked. Jaden's got a science project due Monday. Simple machines. He's been stressing about it. What's he building? A pulley system. He wants to lift a bowling ball with a string. Marcus laughed. I told him to start smaller, maybe a softball. That sounds like a smart kid. He is. Too smart sometimes. Asks questions I don't have answers for. Marcus took a sip of coffee. His mom passed when he was 3. Car accident, so it's just been us for a long time. Lottie's chest tightened. I'm so sorry. It's okay. We're okay. But some days are harder than others. He looked out the window. I just want him to know he's safe, that I'll always show up. That's the most important thing. You're a good dad, Lottie said softly. Marcus looked at her. His eyes were warm, tired, grateful. I try. They finished their coffee in silence. When Marcus stood to leave, Lottie walked him to the door. If Jaden needs a place to test his pulley, she said, the garage has good ceiling beams, just an offer. Marcus stopped. You'd let him come here? Why not? I've got the space. He studied her face for a long moment. Then he nodded. I'll ask him. Thanks, Lottie. Anytime? Tuesday afternoon, Lottie was home early from work. She'd finished her meetings by 3 and decided to catch up on laundry. She was folding towels when the doorbell rang. She opened the door. Marcus stood there with Jaden. The boy was small, with his father's dark eyes and a shy smile. He wore a blue backpack covered in NASA patches and held a rolled-up piece of paper. "Hi," Jaden said quietly. "Hi." Lottie smiled. "You must be Jaden." He nodded. "We were in the neighborhood," Marcus said. "I needed to take some measurements for the shelving. Figured I'd introduce you two properly." "Come in." They walked to the garage. Jaden's eyes went wide when he saw the space. "Whoa, this is big." "It's all yours if you want to test that pulley," Lottie said. Jaden looked at his dad. Marcus nodded. The boy unrolled his paper. It was a worksheet from school, covered in drawings of levers and pulleys and wheels. "We're learning about simple machines," Jaden said. "I picked pulleys because they're the coolest." "They are pretty cool," Lottie agreed. "Can I really test it here?" "Absolutely." Marcus pulled a rope and a small pulley from his bag. He rigged it to one of the ceiling beams and tied a softball to the end. "Try it," he said. Jaden pulled the rope. The ball lifted smooth and easy. His face lit up like Christmas morning. "It works." He pulled it up and down, up and down. "Dad, did you see? It's so easy." "I saw, buddy." Lottie watched them. Father and son, heads bent together, talking about force and mechanical advantage, and how many times Jaden could wrap the rope to make it even easier. Her heart ached in a good way. "Thank you, Miss Lottie," Jaden said suddenly. He looked right at her, serious and polite. "This really helps." "You're welcome, Jaden." "Are you coming to science night?" Lottie blinked. "What's science night?" "Next Thursday, at school. We show our projects to everyone. Parents can come, and friends." He looked at his dad. "Can Miss Lottie come?" Marcus's expression flickered. Surprise, caution, something warmer underneath. "That's up to Miss Lottie." "I'd love to," Lottie said. "If that's okay with you?" Marcus nodded slowly. "Yeah, that's okay." Jaden beamed. He went back to pulling the rope, explaining to Lottie how he was going to paint the pulley red and add labels so everyone would understand. At 5:15, Marcus packed up the rope. "We need to head out. Dinner and homework." "Goodbye, Miss Lottie." Jaden waved. "Bye, Jaden. Good luck with your project." Marcus lingered at the door. "Thanks for this," he said quietly. "He'll remember this." "So will I." Their eyes held for a beat too long. Then Marcus turned and followed his son to the van. Lottie stood in the garage, listening to them drive away. She felt like something had shifted, something bigger than outlets and garage doors. She felt like she was becoming part of their world. Wednesday evening, Lottie's mom stopped by with a container of soup. "I made too much," Evelyn said. "Thought you could use some." "Thanks, Mom." They walked into the kitchen. Evelyn set the soup on the counter and glanced around. "House looks good. Everything holding up after the storm?" "Yeah." Marcus fixed the garage and checked all the outlets. "Marcus?" "The handyman." Evelyn's expression shifted, subtle, but Lottie caught it. "Is he still coming around?" "He's doing some work on the shelving. Why?" "No reason. Just making sure he's licensed." "He is." They stood in awkward silence. Then headlights swept across the window. The white van pulled into the driveway. Evelyn looked out. "That him?" "Yeah." Marcus got out and grabbed his toolbox. He saw Lottie through the window and waved. Evelyn's jaw tightened. "He's—" "Don't," Lottie said quietly. "Please don't." But Evelyn was already walking to the door. She opened it before Marcus could knock. "Hello?" she said. Her voice was polite but cool. "I'm Evelyn, Lottie's mother." Marcus smiled. "Marcus Reed. Nice to meet you." "You're the handyman." "Yes, ma'am." Evelyn looked him over. his work shirt, his toolbox, the small grease stain on his sleeve. You have a business license? Marcus didn't flinch. I do, and liability insurance. I can send you the information if you'd like. That won't be necessary. Evelyn's smile didn't reach her eyes. I'm sure you're very qualified. Lottie felt her face go hot. Mom! I should get going, Evelyn said. She kissed Lottie's cheek and walked past Marcus without another word. The van door slammed. Evelyn drove away. Marcus stood on the porch, toolbox in hand. His expression was carefully blank. I'm so sorry, Lottie said. She's just protective. It's okay. It's not okay. Lottie's voice shook. She shouldn't have. Lottie. Marcus looked at her. Really looked. I'm used to it. You shouldn't have to be. He didn't answer. He just walked past her into the garage and set down his toolbox. Lottie followed. Marcus, I'm sorry. Really, you're respected here. By me. That's what matters. He nodded. His hands were busy, pulling out a tape measure, but Lottie saw the tension in his shoulders. She wanted to say more, to fix this, but words felt clumsy and useless. That night, after Marcus left, Lottie called her mom. You can't do that again, she said. Do what? Treat someone like that. He's a good man, a good father. He does good work. I was just being careful. No, you were being rude, and I won't have it. Silence. Then Evelyn sighed. I'm sorry, I just worry about you. I know, but you need to trust me. Okay, I'll try. They hung up. Lottie sat on the couch, staring at her phone. Then she sent Marcus a text. I'm sorry, you're respected here. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Thank you. That was all. But it was enough. Friday afternoon, Marcus's truck wouldn't start. Lottie heard him cranking the engine from inside the house. She grabbed her keys and walked outside. Need a jump? She called. Marcus leaned out the window. Nah, it's the starter. I need a part from the auto shop. I can drive you. Where's the shop? 10 minutes away, but I have to pick up Jaden at 3. We'll make it. Marcus hesitated. Then he nodded. Okay, thanks. They climbed into Lottie's car. Marcus gave directions. The radio played soft jazz. Neither of them spoke for a while. Then Marcus said, You like this kind of music? Sometimes, when I need to think. Jaden likes hip-hop. He tries to teach me the lyrics, but I can't keep up. Lottie laughed. That's sweet. He's patient with me, more patient than I deserve. They pulled into the auto parts store. The guy behind the counter, older, gray, beard, oil-stained hands, looked up and grinned. Marcus, haven't seen you in a month. How's that van holding up? Good, Tom. No complaints. I need a starter for the truck, though. Got it in back. Give me 2 minutes. Tom disappeared into the stockroom. Lottie looked at Marcus. He knows you. I've been coming here for years. Tom's good people. Tom came back with the part. Marcus paid cash, and they walked out together. They made it to Jaden's school with 5 minutes to spare. Marcus opened the door. Thanks for the ride, really. Anytime. He paused. You want to meet him? Jaden. He'll be out in a minute. Lottie's heart jumped. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. But then Marcus shook his head. Actually, maybe not today. The other parents, they talk. I don't want to complicate things for him. Lottie understood. She squeezed his hand. Another time? Another time. He climbed out. Lottie drove away, watching him in the rearview mirror. He stood by the curb, hands in his pockets, waiting for his son. She felt something warm and bright unfold in her chest. The next Thursday, Marcus and Jaden came over after school. The shelving was done. The garage looked organized and clean. Lottie had cooked pasta, nothing fancy, just red sauce and garlic bread. Stay for dinner, she'd said, if you want. Marcus had looked at Jaden. Jaden had nodded so hard his NASA backpack almost fell off. Now they sat at Lottie's small kitchen table. Jaden said grace, simple, earnest, and they ate. Jaden talked non-stop about his pulley project, how it won a ribbon at science night, how his teacher said it was the best one in the class. Miss Lottie helped, Jaden said. She let me use her garage. We both helped, Marcus said. He looked at Lottie across the table. His smile was soft, grateful. Lottie felt her breath catch. After dinner, they labeled storage bins. Jaden wrote in careful block letters. Tools, sports, winter stuff. At 8:30, Marcus checked his watch. Time to head home, buddy. Already? School tomorrow. Jaden hugged Lottie. Thanks for dinner, Miss Lottie. You're welcome, sweetheart. Marcus touched her shoulder as they walked to the door. Just a light touch, but it made Lottie's skin tingle. Thank you, he said, for tonight, for everything. Anytime, she whispered. They left. Lottie stood in the doorway, watching the taillights fade. She didn't see the neighbor across the street, didn't see the phone raised, didn't see the photo taken. But later that night, Marcus did. His phone buzzed at 8:50. A forwarded image, him and Lottie and Jaden at the table, laughing. The caption read, "Looks cozy. What kind of payment plan is this?" The sender, Andrew. Marcus stared at the screen. His jaw tightened. His hands curled into fists. He typed a message, deleted it, typed another, deleted that too. Finally, he just turned off his phone and sat in the dark. Friday morning, Lottie's phone buzzed at 7:30. A text. From Marcus. Can't make it today or tomorrow. Sorry, that was it. No explanation. No talk soon. Just those 7 words. Lottie stared at the screen. Her stomach twisted. She typed, "Is everything okay?" No response. She waited 10 minutes, 20, an hour, nothing. At noon, she drove home from work. She told herself it was just to grab lunch, but really, she wanted to see if his van was there. It wasn't. She walked into the garage. Everything was clean, organized. The bins were labeled in Jaden's careful handwriting. The shelving was perfect. On the workbench sat a folded piece of paper. Lottie picked it up. Her hands shook. It was an invoice. Itemized. Professional. At the bottom, stamped in red ink. Paid in full. Thank you. Lottie's throat closed up. She sank onto the stool in the corner. This was a goodbye. She looked at the paper plate still on the bench, the one from Thursday night, a dried smear of red sauce. She'd meant to throw it away, but she'd forgotten. Now it felt like evidence, proof of something warm and real that had somehow broken. Lottie folded the invoice and put it in her pocket. Then she sat in the quiet garage and tried not to cry. That evening, her mom came over. Lottie didn't call her. Evelyn just showed up, like she had a sixth sense for when things were falling apart. I brought Chinese, Evelyn said, holding up 2 bags. They sat at the kitchen table. Lottie picked at her lo mein. Evelyn watched her with careful eyes. What happened? Evelyn asked. Marcus stopped coming. Why? Lottie pulled out her phone and showed her mom the photo. The one Andrew had circulated, the caption. Evelyn's face went hard. That little... Mom! I'm sorry, but that's cruel. And it's none of his business. I know. Lottie set down her fork. But it got back to Marcus, and now he's gone. Evelyn reached across the table and took Lottie's hand. Honey, I need to say something, and I need you to hear me. Lottie looked up. I was wrong, Evelyn said. About Marcus, about how I treated him. I was scared. Scared of what? Of you getting hurt again. After Andrew, after everything he put you through, I just wanted to protect you, but I did it the wrong way. Lottie felt tears prick her eyes. I liked him, Mom. I really liked him. And now he thinks I'm just like everyone else, someone who judges, someone who cares about what people think. Then show him you're not. How? Evelyn squeezed her hand. You'll figure it out. You always do. They ate in silence for a while. Then Evelyn said, For what it's worth, I think he liked you too. A man doesn't come back at 9 at night and refuse extra pay unless he cares. Then why did he leave? Because he's protecting his son and himself. That photo wasn't just mean. It was designed to make him feel small, to make people question his character. Evelyn's voice was fierce. But you can fix this. You can show him he's not alone. Lottie nodded. She felt something harden in her chest. Not anger, resolve. Saturday morning, Andrew showed up. Lottie heard his car in the driveway at 10:15. She looked out the window and saw him walking up the front path, holding 2 coffees. She opened the door before he could knock. What are you doing here? She asked. Andrew smiled, the same charming smile he'd used when they first met. I brought coffee. Thought we could talk. We have nothing to talk about. Come on, Lottie, don't be like that. She stepped onto the porch and closed the door behind her. She didn't want him inside. Not anymore. You need to leave, she said. I'm just checking on you, making sure that guy didn't... Stop. Her voice was sharp. Marcus did nothing wrong. You know that. You sent that photo to humiliate him. And me. Andrew shrugged. I was just making sure people knew the situation. There is no situation. There's a good man who did good work and treated me with respect. That's it. Lottie? No, listen to me. She stepped closer. Her heart pounded, but her voice stayed steady. Don't come by again. Don't text. Don't call. We're done. We've been done. And this... She gestured between them. This ends now. Andrew's smile faded. You're making a mistake. The only mistake I made was letting you stay in my life this long. He stared at her for a long moment. Then he set the coffees on the porch railing and walked back to his car. Lottie watched him drive away. Her legs felt shaky, but her heart felt light. She went inside and grabbed her phone. She texted Marcus. The photo won't go any further. I handled my end. She didn't expect a response, but she needed him to know. Sunday afternoon, Lottie drove across town. She'd looked up Marcus's address online. It was listed on his business license, public record. She felt weird about it, but she didn't know how else to reach him. He lived in a small apartment complex near the elementary school, 2nd floor, Unit 2B. Lottie parked and sat in her car for a long time. She held a small red toolbox in her lap. Inside was a label maker, the kind Jaden had used on the bins. She'd wrapped it carefully and attached a note. For inventions. No strings. Miss Lottie. She didn't know if this was right, didn't know if it would help or make things worse, but she had to try. She climbed out of the car and walked to the building, up the stairs, down the hallway. She stood in front of 2B and listened. Inside, she heard voices. Marcus and Jaden talking about homework. Lottie set the toolbox on the doormat. She pressed the note on top. Then she turned and walked away, fast, before she could change her mind. Behind her, she heard a door open. She didn't look back. 20 minutes later, her phone buzzed. A photo. Jaden, grinning, holding the label maker. He'd already made a label, Jaden's Inventions. Below the photo, a message from Marcus. Thank you. Lottie stared at the screen, her eyes blurred. She typed, You're welcome, 3 dots. Then, Can we talk? Her heart jumped. Yes? When? Tuesday night? Mr. Whitcomb needs help with his porch light. I'll be there around 6. I'll be there too. Tuesday evening, Lottie walked down the street to Mr. Whitcomb's house. The sun was low, painting everything gold and soft. Marcus's van was already in the driveway. She found them on the front porch. Mr. Whitcomb stood on the ground, holding a ladder steady. Marcus was at the top, replacing a bulb fixture. "Evening, Miss Hale," Mr. Whitcomb called. "Come to supervise?" "Something like that." Marcus glanced down. Their eyes met. He looked tired, guarded, but not angry. "Almost done," he said. He finished tightening the fixture and climbed down. Mr. Whitcomb flipped the switch. The porch light glowed warm and bright. "Perfect," Mr. Whitcomb said. "What do I owe you?" "Nothing. Call it a favor." "I can't let you—" "You can." Marcus's voice was firm but kind. "You helped me when I first started my business. Gave me my first referral. This is me saying thank you." Mr. Whitcomb's eyes softened. He clapped Marcus on the shoulder. "You're a good man, son. I'm sorry I ever doubted that." Marcus nodded. "Appreciate it." Mr. Whitcomb went inside. Marcus packed up his tools. Lottie stood on the sidewalk, waiting. When he finished, he walked over. "Hi," she said. "Hi." They stood there, awkward and careful. "Want to walk?" Marcus asked. "Yeah." They walked down the quiet street. The evening air was cool. Somewhere, a dog barked. A car passed, headlights sweeping over them. "I'm sorry," Marcus said finally, "for disappearing like that." "You don't have to apologize." "I do. You didn't deserve that." He shoved his hands in his pockets. "That photo? It scared me. Not because it was a lie, but because I knew what people would think, what they'd say about me, about you, about Jaden. I don't care what they think." "I know. But I do." His voice cracked a little. "I've spent 8 years building a life for my son. A good life. Safe, stable, normal. And I was terrified that one stupid rumor could ruin it." "It won't. I made sure of it." Marcus stopped walking. He looked at her. "I know. Andrew told someone you threatened him." "I didn't threaten him. I just set boundaries." A small smile touched Marcus's lips. "That's even scarier." Lottie laughed. It felt good. They started walking again. "I want this," Marcus said quietly. "Whatever this is, I want it. But I need to go slow. For Jaden. For me. I can't rush into something that might fall apart." "I don't want to rush either. I just want—" She paused. "I just want to know you. Really know you. Not just the handyman. Not just the guy who fixes things. You." Marcus stopped again. He turned to face her fully. "I'm scared," he said, "of messing this up. Of getting hurt. Of hurting you." "Me too." They stood there in the fading light. Close, but not touching. "So what do we do?" Marcus asked. "We go slow, like you said." Lottie smiled. "We have pancakes on Saturdays. We do science. Projects. We keep our promises." "Pancakes on Saturdays?" "If you'll have me." Marcus's expression softened. He reached out and took her hand. His palm was warm, rough from work. "Saturday," he said. 9 o'clock. Our place. Bring your appetite." "I will." They walked back to Mr. Whitcomb's house. Marcus climbed into his van. Lottie stood on the sidewalk, her hand still warm from his touch. "See you Saturday, Lottie." "See you Saturday, Marcus." He drove away. Lottie walked home alone, smiling the whole way. Saturday morning, Lottie stood outside Unit 2B at 9:05. She held a small bag with fresh berries and a canister of whipped cream. She knocked. Jaden opened the door. His face lit up. "Miss Lottie, you came?" "I promised, didn't I?" "Come in! Come in!" The apartment was small but cozy. Books stacked on shelves. A science project half built on the coffee table. Photos on the wall. Marcus and Jaden at the beach, at a baseball game, at a park. Marcus stood at the stove, flipping pancakes. He wore a gray t-shirt and jeans. His feet were bare. "Morning," he said. He looked nervous, happy. Morning. Jaden dragged Lottie to the table. Dad made chocolate chip pancakes. They're the best. You're gonna love them. I'm sure I will. They sat down together. Marcus brought over a stack of pancakes, golden and perfect. Jaden said grace again, this time thanking God for Miss Lottie and pancakes and Dad and science and everything. They ate. They laughed. Jaden showed Lottie his ribbon from science night, now framed and hanging on the fridge. I'm gonna be an engineer, Jaden said, like the people who build roller coasters. That's a great dream, Lottie said. Dad says if I work hard, I can do anything. Your dad's right. Marcus met her eyes across the table. The look was warm, grateful, a little shy. After breakfast, Jaden pulled out the label maker. He made a new label and stuck it on Lottie's coffee mug, the one Marcus had given her. Miss Lottie's mug. So you always know it's yours, Jaden said seriously. Lottie felt her throat tighten. Thank you, Jaden. I love it. They cleaned up together. Marcus washed, Lottie dried, Jaden put away. It felt easy, natural, like they'd done this 100 times before. At 10:20, Marcus walked Lottie to the door. Thank you for coming, he said. Thank you for inviting me. Same time next week? I'll be here. He smiled, a real smile, full and unguarded. Drive safe, Lottie. You too, Marcus. She walked to her car. Behind her, she heard Jaden yell, Bye, Miss Lottie. See you next week. She waved. Her heart felt so full it ached. The following Thursday, Marcus came back to Lottie's house to hang a pegboard in the garage. He'd ordered it special, white with brass hooks. Lottie helped him mount it. They worked side by side, passing tools back and forth, not needing to talk much. When it was done, Marcus pulled a small wooden plaque from his bag. He'd carved it himself. Home is built, not bought. He hung it above the pegboard. Perfect, Lottie said softly. The doorbell rang. Lottie opened it. Her mom stood there, holding a basket of muffins. Hi, sweetie, I thought... Evelyn stopped. She saw Marcus in the garage, saw the pegboard, the plaque, the careful way they stood together. Hi, Mom. Evelyn walked inside. She set the muffins on the kitchen counter. Then she walked to the garage. Marcus, she said. Mrs. Hale. An awkward pause. Then Evelyn said, Can you show me how to test that outlet? The GFCI? I have one in my house and I've never checked it. Marcus blinked. Of course. They walked to the mudroom. Evelyn watched as Marcus showed her the test button, the reset, the simple monthly routine. Thank you, Evelyn said. I appreciate it. Anytime. She turned to Lottie. I'll see you Sunday for dinner? Yeah, Mom, Sunday. Evelyn left. Marcus stood in the mudroom, looking stunned. What just happened? He asked. She's trying, Lottie said. That's what happened. Marcus smiled. I'll take it. They walked back to the garage. Outside, Mr. Whitcomb passed by on his evening walk. He waved. No photos, no notes, just a wave. Marcus waved back. That evening, Marcus and Lottie sat on her back porch. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. I have something for you, Marcus said. He pulled a small object from his pocket, a garage door remote, programmed to her door. Not control, he said. Access. Lottie took it. Her fingers brushed his. Access, she repeated softly. Yeah, to the garage, to the house, to... He paused. To me. Lottie set the remote on the table between them. Then she reached out and took his hand. I have something for you too, she said. She pulled out a key, her house key. Access, she said, to everything. Marcus stared at the key, then at her. His eyes were bright, maybe a little wet. You sure? He asked. I'm sure. He took the key, held it tight. They sat there as the sun sank lower. as the sky turned from orange to purple to deep blue. Inside, Lottie's phone buzzed. A text from Jaden. "Dad says we're having pancakes at your house next Saturday. Is that okay?" Lottie smiled. She typed back, "More than okay. 3 dots. Then, "Yay!" She showed Marcus the message. He laughed, soft and warm. "Guess we're doing this," he said. "Guess we are." They sat together until the stars came out, until the air turned cool, until it felt like the most natural thing in the world to be side by side, holding hands, planning pancakes, building something real, building home. Saturday morning arrived cold and bright. Lottie woke at 6:30, too excited to sleep. She cleaned the kitchen twice, made fresh coffee, and set out 3 plates with careful precision. At 8:50, she heard voices in the driveway. She looked out the window and saw Marcus's van pulling in. Jaden hopped out first, carrying a backpack covered in robot stickers. Marcus followed with a grocery bag and a mixing bowl. Lottie opened the door before they could knock. "Morning," she said. "Morning." Jaden rushed past her into the kitchen. "Dad said I could help mix the batter. Is that okay?" "That's perfect." Marcus set the grocery bag on the counter. He looked around the kitchen, at the plates, the fresh flowers in a vase, the way she'd set out the butter and syrup. "You didn't have to go to all this trouble," he said quietly. "I wanted to." Their eyes met. Something warm passed between them. Jaden tugged on Marcus's sleeve. "Dad, can we start? I'm hungry." "Yeah, buddy, let's start." They moved around the kitchen together. Marcus measured flour and sugar. Jaden cracked eggs, carefully, his tongue sticking out in concentration. Lottie found the griddle and heated it on the stove. "Miss Lottie, do you like blueberries?" Jaden asked. "I love them." "Good, because Dad brought a whole container." They folded the blueberries into the batter. Marcus poured circles onto the hot griddle. The kitchen filled with the smell of butter and vanilla. Jaden talked the whole time. About school, about his friend Miguel's birthday party, about a book he was reading about space exploration. His voice was bright, easy, unguarded. Lottie listened and laughed and flipped pancakes. She felt Marcus watching her sometimes. Not nervous, just watching. Like he was memorizing the moment. When the pancakes were done, they sat at the table. Jaden said grace again, thanking God for good food and good people and Miss Lottie's nice house. They ate. The pancakes were perfect, fluffy, warm, sweet. "These are amazing," Lottie said. "Dad's secret is buttermilk," Jaden said. "And love." Marcus nearly choked on his coffee. "Jaden, what? That's what you always say. Cook with love and it'll taste better." Lottie smiled. "Your dad's right." After breakfast, Jaden asked if he could work on his new invention in the garage. Marcus hesitated. "It's fine," Lottie said. "Really." They walked out together. Jaden pulled a notebook from his backpack and started sketching designs for a catapult. Marcus helped him measure the ceiling height and mark safe zones. Lottie leaned against the workbench and watched them. Father and son bent over the notebook, talking about angles and force and velocity. Her chest ached in the best way. At 11, Jaden ran out of steam. He curled up on the old couch in Lottie's living room with a blanket and fell asleep, his notebook still clutched in one hand. Marcus covered him with the blanket and sat down next to Lottie on the porch steps. "He likes you," Marcus said. "I like him too." "No, I mean, he really likes you. He talks about you all the time. Miss Lottie this, Miss Lottie that. It's constant." Lottie felt her throat tighten. "Is that okay?" "It's more than okay." Marcus's voice was soft. "It's everything." They sat in silence for a while. A breeze moved through the trees. Somewhere down the street, a lawnmower hummed. I was scared to let him get close to anyone, Marcus said. After his mom died, I built walls. Big ones. I told myself it was to protect him, but really, I was protecting me. That makes sense. Yeah, but walls don't keep you safe. They just keep you alone. He looked at her. You made me want to tear them down. Lottie reached for his hand. I'm glad. Me too. The next Thursday, Lottie came home from work to find a package on her porch. No return address, just her name written in blocky handwriting. She opened it inside. A framed photo. The one from Science Night. Marcus, Jaden, and Lottie standing in front of the pulley display. Jaden was holding his ribbon, grinning wide. Marcus had his arm around his son's shoulders. Lottie stood next to them, her hand on Jaden's back. They looked like a family. A note was taped to the back of the frame. Thought you should have this. Lottie set the photo on her mantel. She stood back and looked at it for a long time. Then she texted Marcus. Thank you. It's perfect. His reply came fast. So are you. Friday evening, Evelyn came over for dinner. Lottie made chicken and roasted vegetables. They ate at the kitchen table, talking about work and the upcoming holidays. Halfway through dinner, Evelyn set down her fork. I need to tell you something, she said. Lottie looked up. I was wrong about Marcus. Completely wrong. Evelyn's voice was steady but quiet. I let fear guide me. Fear of you getting hurt again. Fear of what people would think. And I hurt both of you in the process. Mom! Let me finish. Evelyn took a breath. After Andrew, I just wanted to keep you safe. But I went about it all wrong. Marcus is a good man, a great man, and he makes you happy. That's all that matters. Lottie felt tears prick her eyes. Thank you for saying that. I mean it. Evelyn reached across the table. Invite him to Thanksgiving, both of them. I want to do this right. Are you sure? I'm sure. That night, Lottie texted Marcus. My mom wants to invite you and Jaden to Thanksgiving. No pressure. But the invitation is real. His response took a few minutes. Jaden would love that. So would I. Then it's a date. It's a date. Thanksgiving came warm and bright. Marcus and Jaden arrived at Evelyn's house at 2:00. Jaden wore a button-up shirt and carried a pie Marcus had made from scratch. Evelyn opened the door and smiled. A real smile. Welcome, she said. Come in, come in. She took the pie from Jaden and complimented his shirt. She asked Marcus about his business, about his week, about the weather. Small talk, but genuine. They sat at the table, Lottie, Marcus, Jaden, and Evelyn. The food was spread out between them. Turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, green beans, rolls. Evelyn asked Jaden to say grace. He folded his hands. Thank you, God, for this food and for family and for people who keep their promises. Amen. Amen, they echoed. They ate. They talked. Evelyn asked Jaden about school and listened, really listened, when he told her about his catapult project. She asked Marcus about his first Thanksgiving after starting his business. At one point, Evelyn caught Lottie's eye across the table. She nodded, just once, a silent acknowledgement. I see him. I see you. And I'm trying. Lottie nodded back. After dinner, Jaden fell asleep on Evelyn's couch, full of pie and mashed potatoes. The adults sat in the living room, drinking coffee. Marcus, Evelyn said, I owe you an apology. I judged you before I knew you, and that was wrong. Marcus set down his mug. Thank you for saying that. I'm serious. You're good to my daughter. You're a good father, and I'm grateful you're in her life. I'm grateful to be here. Evelyn smiled. Good. Then you'll come to Christmas too. Marcus laughed. Yes, ma'am. December arrived with cold wind and early snow. The neighborhood transformed. Lights strung on houses, wreaths on doors, inflatable snowmen in yards. Marcus and Jaden helped Lottie decorate. They hung lights along the porch railing, set up a small tree in the living room, and put a wreath on the garage door. Mr. Whitcomb walked by with his dog and stopped to admire the lights. "Looks good," he called. "Thanks," Lottie called back. Mr. Whitcomb waved and kept walking. No lingering, no questions. Just neighborly kindness. That night, Lottie and Marcus sat in the garage with mugs of hot chocolate. Jaden was at a friend's house for a sleepover, the first time Marcus had let him stay overnight somewhere since his mom died. "You okay?" Lottie asked. Marcus nodded. "Yeah, just weird. The house feels too quiet without him." "You could stay here, if you want, just to have company." Marcus looked at her. "You sure?" "I'm sure." They stayed up late, talking, about everything and nothing, about his mom, who'd passed when he was 20, about her dad, who'd died when she was 16, about dreams and fears and the small, ordinary moments that made life worth living. At midnight, Marcus stood to leave. "Or," Lottie said, "you could stay, on the couch, if that's easier." He smiled. "The couch sounds good." She brought him a pillow and a blanket. He stretched out, his feet hanging off the end. "Comfortable?" she asked. "Very." She turned to go upstairs. Then she paused. "Marcus?" "Yeah?" "I'm really glad you came back. That night, after the storm, I'm glad you kept coming back." His voice was soft in the dark. "Me too, Lottie. Me too." Christmas morning, they exchanged gifts at Lottie's house. Jaden gave her a framed drawing he'd made. The three of them standing in front of the garage, stick figures holding hands. "It's us," he said. "Our family." Lottie hugged him tight. "It's perfect, Jaden. Thank you." Marcus gave her a small wooden box he'd built. Inside was a set of tiny labels, each one carved by hand. Home, love, trust, access. "For your heart," he said quietly, "so you always know what's inside." Lottie kissed him. Right there, in front of Jaden and the Christmas tree and the whole bright morning. Jaden cheered. January came. The holidays faded. Routines settled in. Saturday pancakes became a tradition. Sometimes at Marcus's apartment, sometimes at Lottie's house. Always together. Jaden started calling Lottie by her first name. No more Miss, just Lottie. She taught him how to make her grandma's chocolate chip cookies. He taught her how to fold paper airplanes that actually flew. Marcus fixed things around her house. A leaky faucet, a squeaky door hinge, a loose cabinet handle. Not because she asked, just because he saw them and wanted to help. Lottie started keeping spare tools in the garage, a small toolbox with Marcus's name on it, right next to hers. On a cold Thursday in February, Marcus came over after dropping Jaden at school. He walked into the garage and found Lottie organizing bins. "Hey," he said. "Hey yourself." He set down his toolbox and walked over to her. He took her hands in his. "I love you," he said. Simple, clear, true. Lottie's breath caught. "I love you too." He kissed her, slow and sweet and sure. When they pulled apart, Marcus reached into his pocket. He pulled out a key, the one she'd given him months ago. "I think it's time I used this," he said. "Really used it. Not just for pancakes or projects, but for staying, for building a life here. With you." "You mean?" "I mean Jaden and I want to move in, if you'll have us." Lottie's eyes filled with tears. Yes, I'll have you." They stood in the garage, holding each other. Outside, snow started to fall, soft and quiet and perfect. March came. Moving day. Marcus and Jaden packed up their apartment. Lottie, Evelyn, and Mr. Whitcomb helped carry boxes. By evening, the house was full. Jaden's books on the shelves, Marcus's tools in the garage, their clothes in the closets. Jaden ran through the house, choosing his room, claiming space, laughing. That night, they ordered pizza and ate it on the living room floor. Jaden fell asleep between them, his head on Lottie's lap, his feet on Marcus's. "This is real," Marcus whispered. "Yeah," Lottie said. "It is." April came, warm and green. They planted flowers in the front yard. Jaden dug the holes. Marcus placed the plants. Lottie watered everything. Mr. Whitcomb walked by and stopped to chat. "Garden looks good," he said. "You folks are really making this place a home." "That's the idea," Marcus said. Evelyn came over for dinner every Sunday. She and Jaden became close. She taught him how to play chess, and he taught her how to code simple games on his tablet. One Sunday, after dinner, Evelyn pulled Lottie aside. "I'm proud of you," she said. "You chose love over fear. That takes courage." "I learned from you, Mom." "No, you learned despite me. But I'm learning now, from you, from Marcus, from Jaden. You're teaching me what family really means." They hugged, long and tight. May arrived, full of sunshine and possibility. On a Thursday evening, Marcus and Lottie stood in the garage. The space had transformed over the months. Organized, functional, welcoming. A place where projects happened, where tools lived, where Jaden's inventions took shape. Above the pegboard, the wooden plaque read, "Home is built, not bought." Marcus pulled the spare garage remote from his pocket. He handed it to Lottie. "I know you already have one," he said, "but I wanted to give this to you again, as a reminder." "Of what?" "Of access, of trust, of choosing to open the door instead of keeping it closed." Lottie took the remote. She held it in her palm, feeling its weight. Then she pulled a small bin toward Jaden, who just walked into the garage. The label read, "Jaden's Winter Gloves." "For next year," she said. "So we're ready." Jaden grinned. "We're staying forever, right?" Marcus and Lottie looked at each other, then at him. "Yeah, buddy," Marcus said. "Forever." The garage door hummed. Lottie pressed the button and it descended. Smooth, quiet, perfect. They turned together and walked toward the house. Toward the kitchen, where dinner waited. Toward the living room, where Jaden's homework was spread out. Toward the life they'd built, piece by piece, promise by promise. The door clicked shut behind them, and inside, the lights were warm. 6 months later, Lottie stood in the garage on a Saturday morning, holding a cup of coffee. Marcus was under the car, changing the oil. Jaden sat at the workbench, building a model rocket. The radio played softly. The sun streamed through the windows. Everything smelled like motor oil and coffee and home. "Lottie?" Jaden called. "Yeah? Can we paint the rocket red?" "Absolutely." Marcus rolled out from under the car. "Red's a good choice. It'll fly faster." "That's not how aerodynamics work, Dad." "Sure it is. Red equals speed. Everyone knows that." Jaden rolled his eyes. Lottie laughed. Marcus stood and wiped his hands on a rag. He walked over to Lottie and kissed her temple. "Morning," he said. "Morning. Pancakes after this?" "Always." He smiled. That same steady, warm smile she'd first seen months ago when he'd lifted her garage door and made everything safe. The smile that had changed her life. Jaden held up his rocket. "Look, I'm almost done." "It's perfect," Lottie said. "Just like us," Marcus added quietly. And he was right. They weren't perfect. They still had hard days, moments of doubt, struggles and setbacks. But they had each other. They had trust. They had promises kept and doors opened and love built one small act at a time. They had pancakes on Saturdays and science projects and labels on everything. They had home. Real, solid, unshakable home. And that was more than enough. That was everything. The end.